My name is Adewale Aladejano, popularly called Wale Jana. I'm the creative director of Sapphire Scents. I was born May 16, 1984. I'm my 40th young man in his 40s, from Ekiti State, Nigeria, and married with 4 kids. I've been doing my business the past 10 years. So my Nigerian friend wanted to now talk about how he started scouting for a CEO, after his business crisis. Also validated, how I felt about looking for a CEO. We are in school of life, but you don't even know that you're in school of life. You don't know that how you live in your house daily would eventually influence how you would live life later. In my own case, my house was a house with a lot of perfumes. My dad, my brothers, everybody, my uncles, everybody just loved perfumes. My dad used to have a very famous bookstore in Nigeria. It was called BC Books. It was in Ibadan and they were famous for it and all of that. My dad had been into books all his life. So he wanted to also set up a new store in Ekiti State. And the plan was I was going to be the manager of the store, and that's what I was looking forward to do, become manager of my dad's store. And we supply books to all the universities and libraries all over the country. In 2010, I lost my dad, and that dream of setting up a bookstore, died with it. So the store was there, and I was thinking, okay, the next thing I need to do with this space is to set up, the nicest, classiest barber shop in Ekiti State. So that was my plan. That was all of my ambition at the time. I went back to Abuja and I got a job. I started working at an organization at that time. And I worked at that organization for the next 4 years. Along the way, I was transferred to Benin from Abuja. So come back to Abuja in 2015, and that's when Sapphire started.
And Mr. Wale Jana was my employer. He's my boss, he's a brother. I met Mr. Wale Jana in Kuza 2016, thereabout. I just met him in church. I was like, I want to work for you. And that's his history.
That 2015, I'd married at that time. So we're in Benin by the time I got married in 2014. And the company gave us a house. It was a very comfortable place to settle down in. But along the way, I began to get into trouble with my boss. We used to get into a lot of trouble with her. Just to deal with me, they decided to do what they call a disciplinary transfer.
My own case, they transferred me from the Benin office back to Abuja, but this time around without transportation, without accommodation, without nothing. I was happy to move back to Abuja, and I remember we used to be in the office, dressed in the nines, my shoes was in place, everything was in place. It didn't even look like anything was happening. But at this time, moving back to Abuja, I had no house in Abuja anymore. My younger brother got an apartment. He wasn't married at the time. Why don't you move your family here in the meantime and see, spending the time that you can get your own place. I was able to move my very pregnant wife from Benin. So Abuja, we began to squat with my younger brother in his house. We bought a mattress, took it on the floor, and that's how life started in Abuja. Because my salary couldn't even get a decent house in Abuja. But in the process of thinking of what to do for extra income, that the idea for selling perfumes came. I had a friend that coming from Dubai at the time, and she brought this really nice bottle of perfume from Dubai. It was like a blend of wood and roses. It was really nice. And the idea began to form in my head, like, why don't you start selling perfumes? So I said, I'm going to visit Wuse Market and just see if I can find something close to what this my friend brought in from Dubai. All the money I had with me was 30,000 Naira. I went to Wuse Market, got like 4 bottles of perfumes. And then I remember my wife had like a red scarf I put it on the stool. I covered the red scarf with it, put the bottles of perfumes on that stool. Began to take pictures and I began to post on social media. I'll tell you, if you are not using old perfumes, you are not tapping into history, because wood has a very rich history. I'll tell people this is what David used to talk about in Psalms. There's a psalm when you're talking about aloes and things. Aloes is wood. And to my surprise, my neighbor bought, I think, 2 bottles. I used to sell a bottle at 10,000 naira. They gave me, was it 2 or 3 bottles? I think 2. Gave me 20,000. Then before you knew it, every day I will sell a bottle on social media like it. So the moment you buy, I'll post your picture and say, oh, this guy is a very classic guy, a very enlightened human being. You need to be like this guy. And I'll post your picture, post the perfume and all of that. And before you knew what happening, I was selling a bottle every day. At least I'll sell a bottle every day. I told my mentor, Pastor Bill Fatima, I told him like, this is what's going on. He said, man, there's something different about this business. We are selling, then it was like 2 bottles of perfumes. So it was like you're selling mango juice and pineapple juice. If people don't buy mango juice, they buy pineapple. I said, well, there's something of this business. How can you be selling just 2 types of perfumes and you're selling every day? There's something of this, take it seriously. So he said, I think you should come and see me. So I went to see him and he said to me, I need you to travel to Dubai and start bringing in these perfumes in bulk. I was thinking at it like, all of this you're saying is going to cost me a lot of money. Then he brought out a checkbook and began to write, and I was just thinking that, yeah, Pastor wants to encourage me. I felt to just, 100,000, 150K or something. Then he hands me this check, and this was in 2015, and it was ₦1 million. There's a new name that my grandma gave me, and it's called Naira, which means that the water you will drink will not pass you by. It's also the story of Sapphire, because whatever it is that Sapphire needs, eventually it happens. I think if I look and say that, looking back at the last 10 years I've been learning, that's how I put it. It's making me discover what I truly have, what I need to pay attention to. Because you see, if you don't know what you're doing in business, people will not keep coming back for the last 10 years. It means you certainly have something going on for you, something going on really, really well for you. And you see, Sapphire Story is not just 10 years. It's been 10 years with a lot of vast goals, like the average business. I met him in church and was like, Sir, I love what you do. I love the perfume industry. I want to be your distributor, because there was this distributorship package. Then distributorship package was 150,000 naira. I said I want to key him into this. I paid 150,000, started as a distributor, doing excellently well, selling, I think per bottle. Then as a distributor price rate, we sell it to the consumer at our own rate. Investor got scared. They started requesting for their money, but there's an MOU. Give us this time. But we ran at short-term investment and also long-term investment. And he taught us that long-term investment is the best. We were running at short-term investment packages then, and it was overwhelming. Now we had the news in-house. He gave us the news that, man, investors are complaining, you guys prepare, you start seeing it on the news. Before you know it, start flying on social media, and Sapphire is going bankrupt and all that. They need their money and all that. You know how business can be going so good, everything so well, and at this time we had moved to Lagos. We had set up a place in Lagos. We're almost done to start in Abuja, Cote d'Ivoire. We're setting up in Ghana. We had registered Sapphire in London, Sapphire UK, and we're working part at Sapphire USA. We're getting ready for Sapphire Canada. So you're just going everywhere. Business is good. There are no issues. Somebody reached out to me from social media and said, "Why have you been to China before?" I said, "No." He said, "Send me your passport." Next thing, you have a Chinese visa. You're about to go to China. Then they say you can't come to China, and they're wondering what's going on. Meanwhile, Kobe already to China. This is 2019, by the way. Late 2019, Kobe already to China. Because we produce our bottles and cases in China. We were expecting our next batch of products, bottles and cases, and this time we're also making wristwatches, eyewear, majority of our products. And they said they couldn't ship out.
There are speculations about fraudulent dealings, things about Mr. Wale, Sapphire Scents, and investors, people that invested or distributors. I don't know if there were distributors involved, but there were a lot of blogs, saying things about owing a lot of people money and then say Sapphire Scents is a scam and all of those things.
One of the things that put us in trouble at that time was because we had investors. If you understand the business terrain, unlike many parts of the world, you don't get long-term money in Nigeria. 6 months, 12 months, if you are lucky, 2 years, and that's very rare. So we came up with a very creative way of raising money from friends and family, and we would pay back every 6 months, 12 months, and it was good for the past couple of years. The products you're expecting are not coming in. So you are just trying to bootstrap and manage with what you have. And then 2020 comes in, you're still struggling with that. You have a couple of delayed payments already. People are already getting on the edge. And then by March, COVID hits. And there's a lockdown.
Imagine depending on China markets, bringing your product from China, and you have delay in the port, you have delay with your distributor, and there was this investment planner we got that time. It messed the whole thing up. Imagine you trying to get investors from USA, and the whole thing was a sham. So I think that affected Sapphire Scents greatly. Now there was low demand, and we on our side low supply, facing investors, facing distributors, facing the consumer. It was a lot more.
I think with businesses, mistakes are inevitable. I mean, we as humans would always make mistakes, and then if you're in business, because you don't necessarily know everything, right? And with business, there's always trying new things, especially if you're in a business where you want to scale.
It meant that for every, as profitable as the business was, the overhead was taking a huge chunk of the profits, apart from the investors you had to pay and all of that and their interests. But the money that we should have kept, it was going to overhead of rents and billboards and this and that.
Personally, once a company is going down, definitely staff salary will be affected. There will be downsizing. You need to just try and know how you will handle your overhead. Then we had almost 3 stores, major stores, Abuja, 2 in Abuja, 1 in Lagos, and that affected the overhead. Now we're closing down. We had Abuja functioning only. We had to close down JABI function from the main headquarters. Now those staff working in Lagos and Abuja branch, definitely they'll be laid off. Now you need a different type of strength, a different kind of mind to just function with him at that time. If you don't believe in his vision, you cannot function with Wale at that time, because at that time he was thinking on how to bring in funds to pay investors.
So you had all of these people that you had to pay, and of course Wale is, they say I'm flashy and flamboyant, and so everybody just has this image of this guy that is just larger than life, always wearing Versace, always burning, and now he's owing me money and he can't pay. No, he has the money somewhere. We have to go and drag shit out of him. We had a couple of ambassadors we were working with, We had Tom Tolike on one side, we had CC, we had Regina Daniels, we had Mrs. Choma Deleke, we had Nelson Chamber, 38, Bam Bam. So we had all of these celebrities, we had billboards, Lagos and Abuja, your events, you had Tenny from our place, you had Savage, you had Shinon Peters. You've just had a very, very, very interesting and attractive lifestyle on the media, and then all of this had happened, and you can't pay people. Of course, they're not going to believe you. It was my worst nightmare playing out right in front of me.
So somebody calling Wale Jana first, I think they got it all wrong. because he was investing the money back in his business. Now, the machinery, the production tools we use to produce perfume, it's not cheap. That's where investors come, and they come in, we buy this machine. Somebody that is a fraudster, you see him everywhere. You go to his church, you still see him. You go to the market, you still see him. He attends interview. If you want to even call him to maybe the police station or what have you, he comes. How is that person a fraudster?
They are landing in Nigeria, and now it was costing us a fortune to start, getting our goods released little by little. At this time, a lot was going on already. So they are constantly cash strapped, because even the products that you are supposed to sell, you can't get them out because you still have to pay a lot of money for them.
It's a private business. And in Nigeria, there's no much backing in respect from the government, no funding, you just run business on your own. No, in respect to health, no NHIS backing you, or you have private insurance and you can key into it. Now, imagine his business, 80% of his customers are from social media. When that saga started, definitely the crowd that will back you will be from social media. So I think that was what affected him.
We have this line called the Sapphire Scents bespoke. As a matter of fact, the first perfume we ever made was a custom perfume. So Sapphire Scents bespoke was the first line that Sapphire ever created. And we noticed something that people liked: customized gifts. They loved customized perfumes. So many times somebody will reach out to us and say, I'm going to see this important person. I need you to make a custom perfume for them. The late one King called me up one morning and he said, Wale, do you want to come to Ghana? I meet President Rollins. I said, just like that. He said, yes, just like that. Can you get the perfume ready? I said, sure. We got the perfume ready, and before you knew it, I was on my way to Ghana, and before you knew it, I was sitting right in front of the former president of Ghana, Jerry Rollins. He loves the perfume. He loved it. If you are owing people money and you can't pay on time, you have become a scammer and a fraud. And now on case, because we're popular, we had the blogs. This lover was on our case like back to back. I would wake up in the morning, and if I didn't have a call out, I'd be thinking, oh my God, what has happened? Nobody has called me out today. Was that terrible? We used to have call outs on social media back to back, and then people began to report us to police. They would call it criminal breach of trust, fraud, all sorts of things. We began to have a lot of police cases. We began to have a lot of EFCC. You have a lot of DSS, court, civil cases. A lot of drama like that. I'm using this medium to thank my lawyer, Barrister Shaolusan. Been exceptional. They took all of these cases, and began to fight for us and to speak for us when we could not speak. A typical day in those days, would be us waking up in the morning. My manager at the time now got in a text from one police station to say, yeah, I invited for an FMV here, blah, 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 come at probably 10 a.m. something. So she ring me up as early as 8 a.m. and said, somebody has called us for a police case. And then we'll get there, the person will be there, will apologize, she write a statement, you have to get a shorty to bail you. Then as you are finishing that, you already have some pending cases at EFCC, and then you are also supposed to come and report, like that. And then as that is going, your lawyer calls again to say, oh, there's a matter in court today that he has to attend to. So it was just drama everywhere back to back. One of the things that has helped us along the way is that as business began to pick up, it began to pay. We're not there yet 100%, but we're gradually making progress. There's this very important man. He used to be a general in the army, and he had put some money in Sapphire. And at this time, we've been getting a lot of petitions and things. But then this one came from another government agency, and I had one other lawyer there, a lady, and she advised me and said, no, these people should not be sending you petition. It has nothing to do with them. So sue them to court. So we took this government agency to court. And one day like that, I was in the office, saw men, masked men, like 10 of them stormed my office and moved all of my stuff. When they told me, I just lay on my face and left me to pray. God told me, call this particular person. So I called that person. I told him, sir, this is what I'm dealing with. He said, well, interestingly, the head of that organization is sitting right in front of me now. Come. I'm meeting myself. She said, oh, this has to be a setup. But I said, what they have to do. So I went, and true to that, the man was sitting right in front of me. I explained to him, he was just laughing. I said, I didn't worry about it. I'm answering you. So I went to see the man, and we were able to trash out the issues. That's one. It showed me that day that God is real, that God exists, and God just has mercy on his own. So eventually, of course, we removed that from court, fired the lawyer, because that was bad advice. It was something that we could have done, because when a government agency sends you an invitation, you have to honor it. We didn't honor it. She said we would meet in court, but that was wrong.
The way that he has handled that, aside from, I think it's the resilience for me. And then he said, I think we've had conversations about it, and I saw things from the angles that people wouldn't see, and also the way that he's tried to balance things out, paying people that he needed to pay, and then just not letting it get to him and all of that. So I think I've been able to now just, hold. So even when I see those things, it doesn't bother me anymore, because
in fact, business in Nigeria is very difficult. It's challenging, but since 2020, Sapphire has not taken a dime from anybody. A dime. What's actually painful to me the most is everything that we are doing now was what we were doing in Sapphire then. And except that this time I'm doing it without getting a dime from anybody. Just cash flow and sales. What we were setting out to do was, we didn't want to create the prototype Nigerian brand. If we wanted to create a brand that actually reflected the taste of and the class of Nigerians, it had to be world class. And that's what we set out to do. So they didn't tell you that this perfume is made from made by an Ekiti boy from Nigeria, you never know. Now I know that I didn't have to produce 10,000, 15,000 bottles at a time. I could have produced 500, sell out, produce more. But the agent at the time made it look like, if you cannot produce 10 to 15,000 bottles at a time, then you can't produce your own bottles. And imagine stocking 15,000 bottles. That is tying down a lot of money, right? But it wasn't even bad because you have people to buy. But if you have produced 15,000 bottles, it is now stuck in China, and you can't sell to make the money that you're supposed to make to pay people. That's where you have the problem. I mean, lots of people face challenges that nobody cares about. But in our own case, we have a very strong social media presence, so anything about us was always news.
So with social media, I just usually tell people not to think so much. Don't think about it too much. I mean, you can control the narrative, so to speak, with what to put out there. And then once there's an issue with, say, maybe somebody's calling you out, or there's a bad press or bad publicity, like you want to call it, talk about it. Address it, debunk what needs to be debunked. If you need to apologize for anything, apologize for it, and then just move past it. You're out there. There's really nothing that you can do about it.
At the time we were being called out on social media, it wasn't even like there was no cash flow. There was cash flow, but I don't think there's any bank, no matter how big or legit you are, if all your customers reach out at the same time and say, today we want to collect our money, I don't think there's any business that can survive if that ever happens. And that's what happened to us. The perception just went around that, these people are in trouble and they cannot pay. So suddenly there was pressure everywhere. Our inventory at the time, like I said, our perfumes were stuck. Our bottles, not the perfumes, the bottles were stuck between China and Nigeria because of COVID. And of course, by the time the lockdown was over, the damage had been done. So even by the time they landed, business had changed. People were not looking to buy perfumes as much as possible before. So if somebody wanted to order 5 bottles before, he would suddenly go and use that money to buy food and buy sanitizers. So it's sort of like changed the game for a while. We're still paying people, we're not done. And, and this is the opportunity to say thank you to Sapphire investors, because they were just very gracious. So many of them collected products. There's one person I can never forget, and it is Mfonebo. Mfonebo is exceptional. She's an exceptional woman. Mfon will only found some money, and she said to me, Wale, you know what? I see your heart, I see what you're trying to do, but you're just going to trouble. Forget about that money you're owing me. And then take 10 million extra. I just try to sort it out. I'll never forget her for that. But we've also had people that sat on our neck and showed what she did. But hey, it comes with the top. If we had a level playing field with many of these foreign brands, they don't have nothing else. Recently, we just featured as the first Nigerian and African brand featured on fragrantica.com. That's a prestigious perfume website. They just reached out and said they've been looking for perfumers from Africa and Nigeria. They couldn't find us. Somebody said, oh, you should know Sapphire Scents. And they introduced us, and we're that beautiful to do with them. So global dominance is the realistic view, because I finally found how to do and go about it. And that's what we do. We sip and send every month. Instead of opening your own stores every way and spending a lot of money on overhead, we now partner with departmental stores. Right now we're in partnership with H-Minix, famous and trendy cherry supermarket. All of them are inside. That's what makes up H-Minix. So we have a stand inside all of those departmental stores. And within the next couple of months, we're going to spread around Nigeria and then Africa and then the world. Because, from duty-free in Nigeria to duty-free in different parts of the world, that's where we're heading. I think JAPA.RUN is very, very strategic. It's a strategic platform because it bridges the divide between those in Nigeria and those abroad. Because you see, there are different narratives that have been spun, especially, and I appreciate this platform because of someone like me, there could be different narratives that have been spun about me, for people in diaspora that just feel like, oh, this is what this person is. Interestingly, about a couple of people say, oh, that Wale boy is this and that and that and that. And how did they know that? They read it on the blog. Somebody said this, or they found out there's somebody money, and nobody corrected that. So this platform gives people like us the opportunity to actually speak to people in diaspora, my own side of the story, not like I care about your opinion, but I'm just saying that if you care to listen to my own side of the story, there it is, so that's what JAPA.RUN for me is strategic about. Start with what you have, where you are, watch your overhead like a hawk, like your creativity is what's going to stand you out, not money.